Good morning, New York. It's a sunny day. The birds are chirping, and I'm stuck in traffic. And also not in New York, but I do got the New York prizes in Austin today. I talk about some stuff, and I'll make it quick. I'm challenging myself to do it quick. So first, 9 days sober from media. No media. Nothing to do with politics, crisis, or economy. No video games. Mm. For 9 days. Boy, I'm getting angsty. I'm coming home and I'm feeling bored. And of course, there's like all the chores that I can do and all the good things a man and husband can do. But, that's not what video games fill up. There's that hole that video games don't fill up, that entertainment movies don't fill up. I want to learn something. So I'm just watching a bunch of YouTube videos on mechanics and repair shops and how to repair your car and flip a car. Just random things like that, and I got sick, so that sucks. See, I got sick of the damn Nintendo. I don't have it no more. Who would have known that that thing was keeping me alive? Alrighty, alright. Now for the next thing, I was talking to my brother. Hopefully, he's listening to this podcast, and I was thinking about the things that one needs to bring whenever you go to a foreign country. And so I'm making this podcast for him, so that you can hear to everything that you need to be prepared for, and anybody who is in a similar boat. So here's how it starts. You somehow magically go into another country. That's great. You're gonna have fun. Lots of fun. Um, it's a different country, different laws, different everything, different internet. So the first thing you want to do is get yourself a VPN. Of course, you want to do research about that country as well, a little bit, if you need a VPN. But let's just take the easy road and get a cheap VPN. You don't need something too expensive, too fancy, something easy. The thing is, you gotta get it once you're here, because once you go over there, the internet is gonna be so blocked, you won't be able to download a VPN either. And there will be ways, regardless, people find a way. But if you do that and you have to download it over there, you'll have to know the locals a little more and ask around on the locals. And you gotta get that VPN the local way, going through their websites with their language, translating page and page after page, and you gotta pay them using either their cards or their money. So it gets a little more complicated. Hopefully, well, if you're already situated in the country, then that's doable. But and then it could turn out that the country that you're going to doesn't really require a VPN, or they're a little bit more lax. But my country was China. So I'm talking from different experience where they have it locked down pretty well. So yeah, you gotta do it before you go while you can. Download something cheap. They're cheap. Find promo codes out there. Next thing, moving on to the next thing. What else do you need? You're gonna need a SIM card for your phone, and you're gonna need a good phone. A good phone, you can pick. There's many. Um, there's the Apple, there's the Androids, and there's the Googles, and so on. Now, I don't recommend the Googles, the Google Pixel, and anything on that Google, because most countries out there ban Google and Google products. They ban YouTube, Facebook, X/Twitter. They ban a lot of social medias and a lot of American companies, and Google phone. They also ban a lot of Google services, including the Google webpage, to search for stuff. So if you bring a Google phone, it's gonna get blocked and bricked from the start. Nothing in it is gonna work. Then you get the Androids. You can definitely get Androids. They're easy peasy. Every country out there has an Android. So no issue with that. Everything in an Android should work. And if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure you could modify it so that it does work. Androids are pretty versatile if you like them. And if you're somebody who already likes Apple or has an Apple, then you might want to just upgrade your iPhone. Um, at least in my experience in China, China loves the iPhone. So a lot, if not all of the services from the iPhone worked in China. So that was like a no politics type of company. He worked there in China. iPhone and all their Androids. But their Androids were Chinese and they had a lot of Chinese stuff in it. So I don't know how, just from experience, iPhone works pretty well. I think an Android could work pretty well too. Now you can also buy a phone over there. That's the thing. But if you do, you gotta do your research and make sure that the phones you get over there are unlockable or they're not tethered to the country in some aspect, like language and a phone line and features. Because I bought a tablet that was Chinese. Um, and then I didn't know this, but it was banned in the US. It was a Huawei. So when I brought it back, pretty expensive $800 tablet, might as well bought an iPad, but it was just Android Huawei. It got bricked when I came to the US. Absolutely nothing could work. It's just the way that it was actually didn't get bricked. It's just a lot of the Chinese apps that were pre-installed and only allowed to be installed. Um, there was a way to make everything American work, but you had to go through a side door. You have to download a bunch of sketchy apps and downloaders, and then download your own modded American app store. I'm pretty sure it could be made work, but it gave me more headaches than solutions. So it sucked. So if you're gonna buy a phone over there, in whatever country you're going, just have that in mind. When you bring it back, it could be bricked. That's why I would stick to name brands that are also recognizable over here where you live at. I mean, even you don't have to live in the US, but if you live in Africa and you have like some brands that you know over there, and you find it over there in Thailand, so you can buy that probably. But for me, I'm sticking to my iPhone. My iPhone hasn't, yeah, it's not the most wow phones out there or wow company. But when it comes to traveling internationally, all countries take it as far as I know. When it comes to Androids, there's so many brands. Um, so you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out 'cause some countries ban certain brands, like America bans Huawei, and then a bunch of other Chinese brands. Now, why do you need a powerful phone? Because you're gonna be translating a lot of stuff. You need a phone with good battery, so you're gonna also need a power bank and a good cable. You're gonna need a couple connectors that are. You gotta do research on the electricity over there. Anyways, let me jump back to the phone. You need a good phone because it takes good pictures, can scan well, translate things in real time, good signal. It just works when you need it to work, which is gonna be all the time. There's gonna be your voice. It's gonna be your thinking machine, your maps, your guiding machine, everything. Okay. Next thing is research on their electricity. So what voltage do they take over there? America takes a certain voltage in the walls, in the wall plugs, and not all countries in America, in the world are like that. Europe, it does a different voltage, and I think China was normal in my standards. Was normal. Like everything that worked in the US worked in China. I didn't need a. I don't remember if I needed a special plug for Chinese stuff. I don't think I did. That was incredible. But when I went to Europe, I did. So if you're going to another place, make sure the plugs they use are the ones that we use. If not, buy the connector for it, like an adapter is what it's called. You just put it on top of your connector and boom. And then make sure the voltage also that whatever you're bringing is the same voltage or can handle the voltage, because if it don't, it's gonna get fried. I remember I brought a shaving machine, um, like a hair clipper type, and I bought the I bought the adapter for it, but I read the label and it said this thing can only handle whatever. I'm just gonna make it 120 hertz or whatever voltage, and in Europe the normal voltage was 240, something like that. And I knew that it wasn't gonna work, but I was kind of curious. I'm like, well, if I can't use it, I mean, might as well go into the trash because I'm gonna be here for years. So why keep carrying it? Let me plug it in the wall and see what happens. What happens if I plug something that says it can handle half of it? What do you think happens? Absolutely nothing incredible. It did nothing, no noise, no explosion, no smoke, nothing. But when I returned home and I plugged it back here, it didn't work either. So I assumed I toasted whatever was in there. So yeah, I kind of destroyed it. I didn't throw it to the trash until I brought it back home. Scientist myself, something of a scientist. Um, yeah, clippers, voltages, SIM cards, good phone, chargers, SIM card. Oh yeah, you gotta have a SIM card that it's international. There's international SIM cards that you can have, and then there's local SIM cards. So when you go over there, you can buy the local SIM card, and I recommend that. It's kind of like a minutes or points type of card that you reload every month. Um, but just to go over there, you do want to, if your phone line allows it, buy the international package, but also do your research if that package is allowed in the country you're going. If it works, if not, just go over there and just buy an international card here while you're here. And then over there, once you go over there and you get to know the people and your coworkers and you make some friends, then you can start asking around about, local SIM cards that you can use. Maybe your job can guide you on what SIM card to use. Somebody in there, if they have like an onboarding person. Some companies have an onboarding person, somebody you can always ask questions to, or some experienced foreigner that's been there for years. You can reach out to them, make friends with them, ask for help. Yep. What else? What else does one need when you're international? Make sure you read the laws. The locals or the people that have been there for a while will also know the law in some aspect. Um, it's not like you're gonna break it accidentally, easy peasy, and you're gonna get arrested. You just, when in Rome, do as Romans do. Watch your surroundings and look what people do, and copy that. Although, I know some of those people will break laws because they're local and they know something you don't. But most of the time, just following what they do is kind of what you have to do. Like in China, nobody ever respected the red light, and they just crossed while cars were driving on the road. And I mean by foot. You just cross the street by foot while cars are driving. And all the locals do that. They just walk. I used to call it the leap of faith. Um, the trick is once you start walking, you cannot stop. If you stop, you're gonna make a car crash happen, or you're gonna get killed. You gotta cross the street and just take a leap of faith and keep walking and hope the drivers that are driving are gonna be good enough to predict your movement and get out of your way. That's how it worked over there. You just walked, and cars would drive around you. There was no crosswalk, and there was large streets. So most of these countries that people go to that are a little less, civilized. I wouldn't even say civilized because they're pretty civil, but I guess not Western, or yeah, I'd say non-Western. Like your Africas, your Indias, your Chinas, your Asians, all those. They're kind of a little bit like that, where you just take a leap of faith whenever you cross the road. People make their own laws while driving, type of thing. In America, they wouldn't be able to handle that, but here and other places, they're pretty smart. So watch out for the locals. You can do some research on your own, but most of the research that you'll find will be wrong on the laws or it'll be pretty exaggerated. And it will tell you things that you don't need to know about, like never kiss the bride on the left Sunday. And you'll be like, I'm not even planning to marry or kiss somebody. And it's like, I don't think why I need to learn this long. When you go to the internet, you'll see things like that. When you gift something, gift it in a green bowl because red bowls mean disrespect and death. And you'll be like, when am I going to give something? And also, is this something my generation knows? Like, even my generation of uh, Nigeria, just random name. Does my generation of 20, 30-year olds in Nigeria even follow this traditional weird law? Most likely not. Like, I bet we have some laws here in America that we also don't even, like boomer laws, I guess. Old people used to follow them, but not us. I'm gonna just pause it right here. Hello, I'm back. Back on track, talking about that stuff. Yeah, so everything phone, you want communication, you want to establish communication between you and your world back home. Some emergency contact, something. Um, then they usually buy your plane ticket, you go over there, you meet with somebody that takes you to the workplace. Um, you may also want to bring some original documents with you, your passports and social security card. You would just want to bring everything. You also want to bring some cards with you. You gotta do some research, but there's some credit cards that you can use internationally with a fee, and there's some cards that you use without the fee, and you want those. From experience, I know the Robinhood Gold Card has no international fees, and the Amazon Prime credit card also doesn't have international fees. um, I believe, and you just check, but some other cards do, and they can get pricey when you start using them. But it's kind of cool. Like you can use some of your credit cards in a foreign place, and the place would automatically uh, do the money exchange to the coin, but it will charge you a fee, and you probably won't get the best rate, but it'll get an okay rate. So it's better to just as an emergency, if you can, and your workplace over there in the foreign country helps you, and they can help you make a bank account and actually get one of their cards, like a debit or whatever. They just whatever they used to pay regular guys. Maybe they'll pay cash. You'll see. You just want to be prepared for emergency. You may also want to take some cash, some in your home country money, so you can exchange over there. And you also want to take some of their local cash. You want to do that because you never know when you're gonna be able to find an exchange house. So yeah, you want to do that. How do you do it? Your local bank that you use may offer a service where they trade you your money for so and so money, and then it could end up that the place that you go takes dollars, but not always. If you can get some money from the other country before you land. Um, you want to take some clothes, some socks, underwear, shirts, nothing too fancy, couple of pairs of that stuff. Most of your necessities you will buy over there. Just know that. You can take a toothbrush and toothpaste or something if you can. Um, but most of your shirts and socks and underwear, those you can buy over there. Like local clothes over there. Work clothes. Because you don't want to pack too heavy as well. I mean, you can if you can handle that type of stress of walking with three luggages in a foreign country, but I don't. Um, I guess you want to wear your pair of boots on the plane When you're boarding, you want to wear the heaviest things on you and have the lightest thing on your luggage. So, for example, if you're gonna carry a pair of boots and shoes, I recommend wearing the boots to the airplane, even if they're hot or uncomfortable, and put the shoes in the luggage, especially if they're like steel toe boots. Then you want to wear your belt, your biggest jacket if you brought one. If you're going to a cold place, you want to be wearing your biggest jacket. You might even wear a couple layers per person. Um, that's when you get on the airplane. You want to get like a neck pillow. You want to have that. It's just more comfortable. You want to have something to shut the sunlight from your eyes. So you want to get one of those sleeping blindfolds. And you want to have some headphones or something to block the noise from the airplane. Because probably the flight is going to be a long flight. And you want to land with energy. So a good sleep or a good rest is going to be the best. Then that was one thing on the tip of my tongue that you wanted to do as you board a plane or something. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I remember. Make sure you gotta make sure you stay keep track of time in your watch, in your phone, something, because this happened to me and I had to miss a flight. Um, my phone wasn't connected to the internet. Here's why the SIM card is important, or be connected to the Wi-Fi of the plane or the Wi-Fi of the airport as soon as you land. You want to have something because the hours will change. Yeah, I know that you left at 12 and you arrived at 6 and your watch said 6. And then if you have a connecting flight, your connecting flight says that it's at 9 and you're like, cool, I have 3 hours. Yeah, right. You don't. Once you connect to the internet and your phone updates the time, it will go back and you'll be like, oh, actually, it's already 8 p.m. of their time, which means my flight is in 1 hour. Something like that. So that's what happened to me. I didn't have SIM card or line or anything. My phone showed the same time that it showed back in the US. And I looked at my flight and I looked at the phone and I said, I got time, I got hours. I can use the bathroom and enjoy the fact that I'm here. I made it. I called victory too soon. And then when I was done, I don't know how I realized or noticed. I think I looked at their clocks because they have clocks and screens all over the place. And their clock was different than mine. And boom, I missed the flight. I had to get a different mode of transportation. So it was an adventure. But yeah, simple mistake. Don't repeat it. Make sure you look at their time. Either you can research that beforehand and be like, oh, this airport is 6 hours before mine. So when I arrive, I just got to count 6 hours backwards. Or as soon as you land, connect to their Wi Fi so that your phone can update. Or look at the clocks on the TVs. Next thing is, for most people when they travel outside their country, is often the first time they uh, used an airplane internationally, and it's a whole scary thing when you land and you're in an airport. Even in your local airport, it's a little scary, but at least you got time. So you can figure out the gates and which way to go, left and right, and you understand a little bit of the culture, so you kind of follow people around and ask around. But when you're in a foreign country, all that is pretty much gone. Different whole airport system looking thing. They got trains inside the airport. They got weird signage with their language and just people screaming left and right trying to sell you stuff. So best thing to do is research the airport. If you have a connecting flight, just research the airport that you're gonna land on. Look at their schematics. Go into their website. Download the map. They often have one. Or take a screenshot with your phone. Whatever you gotta do. Save that map. Study the map. Imagine you're doing a bank heist. You're gonna rob the place. You gotta know exactly where you're landing, exactly where you're going, how many lefts and rights you're gonna take. Where's the underground, the top ground, the first floor, second floor, everything. Where is the person gonna be waiting for you? Is it gonna be letter G, letter F? And I know that the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they're right there together next to each other. But when you're in the airport, F is a half mile to the right and G is underground to the left for 4 miles. It gets crazy. So yeah, the ABC looks like it's right next to each other, but when you're there, the airport layout puts them so far away. So make sure all that is good. Um, ooh, well, make sure to download some offline dictionary or offline translator if you can beforehand. You could do one with Google services and one without because you never know. However, if you have a VPN, you could be safe with a Google translator, but you also need to have line, phone line over there in that country. So you get my drift. You need some offline something. Offline something. And then the best part, um, that I can tell you that I learned is everybody knows body language. You may not know how to speak. Once you step in a foreign country with a different language, you're a mute. You're a person that went through no schooling. You didn't go to kindergarten, to primary school, to high school, and nothing. You didn't do anything. You just woke up one day and you went straight to work. You don't know how to read, you don't know how to speak. What you know is how to move your body and make signs. And I understand that different worlds take signs differently. Yes, if you're talking about gang signs and things that are cultural, like the middle finger, but like most people know what that is now, but things like that, yes, people won't understand. But everybody understands how somebody looks when they want to go pee. So you take that damn thing out, you ask for the bathroom. Not really, you don't take it out, but you make the movement. You make the body language of somebody who wants to go pee. You make the noise with your mouth. If you want to know where the bathroom is, just act like you need to go to pee with your body language, exaggerate it, make the noise. You're peeing or flushing or whatever. Toilets are gonna be different. So the way you mimic a toilet is not the same way they're gonna mimic it. They probably have holes in the ground, and you have that one that you sit down. Um, but if you want to eat, you can mimic eating a burger, right? You can mimic eating something with a spoon or chopsticks. You just want to eat. You can rub your belly and make it look like you're hungry. So even if you don't speak and you need signs, you can figure them out. Just gotta be creative. Imagine you're in kindergarten. Everybody who's around you also doesn't know how to speak or read. And everybody who you interact with doesn't know how to speak, neither do you. So, that's the curse of Babylon. That's what happened in the Bible. We wanted to build that high tower. And the Lord said, no, you don't. I'm going to give you 1,000 languages so you can't communicate with each other anymore and you can't build the highest tower in the world anymore. And nobody knew how to communicate with themselves. So it's just like that. You're in Babylon, baby. You don't know how to speak, so use your body language. How to drink water if you're thirsty. You make the sign that you're drinking from a glass or something, slurping sound. If you need a car, taxi, you can do that sign of a car. Vroom, vroom. Everybody understands that. I imagine if they have horses or camels, then slap an ass or something. Do the cowboy dance. But do not underestimate body language. It'll take you anywhere you need to go. Anyway, also the calculator. If you need to buy something, of course, you don't know how much stuff is at all. But you can point at things with your finger and you can take your calculator out and put a number and then hand it over to the other person and they'll put a number in the calculator and hang it back to you. And that's how you make business without speaking. You just hand each other numbers while pointing at something. You kind of have to haggle all the time in most countries. So it's fun experience. I recommend always being with a friend or somebody that's been there, even if both of you haven't been there or something. But always be with somebody. It's much better to have two thinking brains than just yourself. You can get demotivated or scared or shocked or lost or stressed out and have anxiety. But your other friend could save you. He probably won't be as scared as you. Or when he looks at your scared face, he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to be the hero. And vice versa. You might take a guy that's a little scared, but you're stronger in that regard, and then he's stronger in another place that you're not. You get the idea, teamwork. You do that until you're comfortable, slowly being on your own, but you always want to be with somebody, go eat with somebody. You'll see that. There's people that have been there for a while and they know how to communicate or get things pointed across. It's fun. So body language, my man. Nobody knows how to speak, but everybody knows there's some universal symbols that you'll realize. And they're the pictures, if anything. If you need to find something, pull out the map in your phone and show pictures, symbols, logos, addresses. Everybody understands that. If you're using their local address, yeah, they understand. If you need a taxi and just point an address in your phone. Then then you whip out the calculator and start haggling the price. So you see why the phone is very important. You do want a good phone that's reliable when you need it, and you want a charging block so that it remains reliable. But yes, phone is going to be a savior in this regard. A big, big savior. All right, all right, all right. I'm here. I'm here at work. I don't know what that is. So is life. There's so many, many more things and so many more fun things that you're gonna find once you're over there. But the first one that is most important is just getting there. You got to get there. And you wanna do it with the least amount of stress that you can. Least amount of stress. Comfort. You want most comfort as you can. And be prepared for the unknown and the scary. But that's what makes it into an adventure and a fun memory to always share for life. And a different world that lives differently will open your eyes because you did not know that you could live that way too. You'll be grateful of some things and you'll be angry of others. Why does your country not do it like this? Why does their country has this and you don't? And then, you know what? I'm grateful I have this and that and they don't. You'll have a mixed feelings. You will definitely have mixed feelings. Uh, it's just the way it goes. It's like going to somebody else's house and just looking around and being like, wow, I didn't know you could decor a house like this, or you could put the tool rack like that, or you could use the garage in this different way. Mm. And then you go back home and you're like, you know what? Home is sweet home. I like my bed. Oh, and I'll have fun. Enjoy the ride. If there's more, I might make a second episode, but I think one is enough. Listen to it if you're planning to travel abroad. I think that's what I'll call it. If you're planning to travel abroad, this goes to my brother. Not mentioning names, although maybe I should, but you know, it's the internet. I don't even know if it's keeping it private because I do have an episode with him. So hi, brother. Hope you have a good time, and if it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. And that's fine. Thank you, everybody.